guys, it's Allie and Macy, and sorry about the lighting. We're kind of dealing with the situation at the moment. Darkness! Nothing but darkness! And some lights over there, but mostly darkness! Try to just ignore that. So anyway, you know when something happens to you and you just have to tell somebody? Well, that happened 3 months ago, and we're just now getting around to making this. Well, if you haven't noticed from the title, then this is the story of how Danisnotonfire and AmazingPhil got me suspended. Well, kinda. Let me explain. It was Friday, November 9th. Anyway, so we were in class one day, and we had been sick Monday to Thursday, and like I said, it was Friday, so we were in this class, and our teacher said she was going to start the lesson, and then she was going to come over and catch us up on what we missed. So she told us to just kind of sit there, and then she'd come catch us up. So we did. Well, we were sitting there, and basically a few weeks before this happened, we were in the same class, and we weren't doing anything. It was like a free day. So I took out a piece of paper, and I wrote a Danisnotonfire quote on it, and then I gave it to her, and she put an AmazingPhil quote on it. And so we just kept making a list of quotes from Dan and Phil's videos, and I thought it was going to be like, you know, a one-day kind of thing, but no, we filled up pieces and pieces and pieces of paper with these quotes on them. There was a lot. There was like 9 at this point. And so, on this day, I took out the one we were working on, which we happen to remember was the 9th one, and I was adding to it, because like I said, we had some time to kill before she helped us out. So, I was writing it, and I saw her coming to help me. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen one of Dan and Phil's videos, but if you have, you probably know what we mean by quotes. Some of them can be kind of inappropriate. Yeah. And we thought about that while we were doing it. We were thinking, you know, some of this stuff would be kind of awkward if a teacher saw, but that's just it. We didn't plan on anybody seeing it. I was just going to put it in my binder when I was done, move on with my life, you know? It was just going to be between me and her kind of thing. And, well, that's not what happened. So I see this teacher coming, and I put the paper under my notebook to get it out of the way so she can help me, and she sees it, snatches it, and says, "You're not supposed to be taking notes in class." Now, excuse me if I'm wrong, but that's not what I would consider a note, would you? No, it was more like a list, and it wasn't really a note, I would say. I mean, we were passing it back and forth, but I think a note would be more like a conversation, something secretive. Yeah. And this was on our free time. We weren't doing this in the middle of class, so I would not necessarily consider this a note. Well, she did, and she took it, and she told me not to pass notes as nicely as I could, because by this point I was kind of mad. So as nicely as I could, I said, I'm sorry, but that's not a note. And she said, "Well, I saw a word I don't like written on it." Well, like we said, we hadn't been in school for a week, so we had absolutely no idea what was written on this paper. We just know it was Dan and Phil quotes, we just don't know which ones. Yeah, so you can probably see where the problem was. So she took it, she gave us our assignments, we did it, everything was normal after that. I was kind of mad that she didn't give me my paper back, but you know, I kind of thought that was it. I thought maybe she threw it away or, you know, just moved on. But throughout the day I was kind of thinking how I was kind of mad that we never got that paper back, because I would have liked to know what was written on it. So I don't know why I did this, but between classes I went back down to her room and I went up to her and I said, "Hey, can I please have my paper back?" I wasn't really expecting her to say what she said next. She said, "Oh, I gave that to the vice principal. If you want it, you'll have to go get it from him." And I was pretty ticked off right there, you know. So I dismissed it like I should. I went on to class with her. I told her what happened, and we just kind of laughed about it. Yeah, we laughed it off, didn't really think anything of it. And then in 7th hour, they called me down to the office, and I was kind of laughing because I thought it was pretty funny at the time. So I go in the office, and the vice principal wanted to see me. So we went back into his office, and obviously I knew what he was going to say, and just like I imagined he would, he asked me about the piece of paper, and he asked me if it was written about anybody. And like I said, I can't back up what was on that note, because I had no idea. I told him, no, it's not about anybody in the school. I actually kind of laughed because the fact that it would be about somebody I know was actually pretty hilarious. But I told him, no, not about anybody, didn't mean any harm whatsoever. And then he asked me, were you the only one that wrote it? Well, no, but I didn't tell him that, because, you know, I didn't want to get her in trouble too. So then he looked me square in the face and said, you know there's some pretty bad stuff written on that paper, right? I just said, yeah, and he got this big vice principal smile on his face and sent me back to class like everything was fine, so I thought, woohoo, you know, I'm all good. I wasn't all good. So I go back to class, and I'm sitting there doing my work, and I feel my phone vibrating in my pocket, and it vibrated more than once, so that's how I knew it was a phone call from somebody. But obviously I was in class, so I wasn't going to look. I just figured it was my mom, because she was on vacation in Vegas at the time, and I thought, oh, you know, she got the time difference mixed up, she's calling ahead of schedule, no big deal, I'll set her straight when I get home. So I just kind of dismissed the phone call, you know. Then I get on the bus, and I look at the number was. It was not my mom, but I didn't know who it was, because it came from a home phone in my area, but I didn't know who it was. So I just kind of thought, oh, they've got the wrong number. Looked down, they had left a voicemail, so I listened to that. It was my vice principal informing me that I had been suspended from school for the next 2 days. Now, I didn't even know the school had my number on file. So that's weird enough. Yeah, and, you know, I get home. I didn't tell Macy about it on the bus. I tell her when I get home. And so we were kind of thinking, you know, what are we going to do about this? So we called my mom in Vegas, and she said she didn't get a call. She's my parental guardian. She didn't get this call. So we were thinking, oh, that's kind of weird. She called my dad. He didn't get the call either. I was the only one that got the call. Still can't even explain why that happened, but it did. We were just trying not to laugh, because the reality of it was, I got suspended for writing Dan and Phil quotes. That was absolutely hilarious. It's still hilarious, but the story gets a little bit worse. Yeah, at the time, we were not happy. So my dad called my principal, and they were on the phone for like an hour trying to sort this out. My principal read the note to my dad, if that wasn't awkward enough, and he couldn't do anything about it, so I ended up being suspended. The story gets worse, believe it or not. So like I said, that whole incident happened on a Friday. Well, it just so happens that on that Monday was our school's Veterans Day program. And every year at our school's Veterans Day program, our choir performs. The first choir performance of the year. And any of you that know us know that we care a lot about choir.
A lot.
We're in it, it's like our #1 priority. I'm so tired of feeling confused, but for now, there's a reason that you're still here in my heart. So, I had to miss that. First performance of the year, we were doing a song that I really loved and felt like I could sing really well, and I had to miss it. She got to go. I got to go. I thought she did the exact same stuff I did, but she got to go. So, if that's not bad enough, I don't know if you know this, but we always miss school together because we're always sick at the same time. It's pretty self-explanatory. When you're twins and you share a room, you share a house, you basically share a life. When one of us gets sick, it does not take long for the other one to get sick. Not long at all, you'd be surprised. So usually if one of us is homesick, the other one is. That's just kind of how it plays out. So I've never been to school without her before, so those 2 days are pretty awkward for me. I mean, I have classes without Allie, but the classes that I had with her were just weird without her there. I felt like, because I'm a small person, so I felt like I needed to show the teacher I was here, because if he saw that Allie wasn't there, he'd go ahead and mark me absent, so I was just kind of, I'm here all day. It was weird. My dad took off work so I wouldn't be lonely, which was nice of him. But yeah, it was the most boring 2 days of my life. So that's my story of how Danisnotonfire and AmazingPhil kind of got me suspended. So I guess the moral of this story is if you're going through something rough or a sucky situation, maybe, hopefully, you can laugh about it later. Unless someone died, then probably not. Probably not. It will get better, hopefully, eventually. Here is actually one of the papers that we did, and this wasn't the one I got in trouble with. I never got that one back, but here is a legit copy of what we were talking about. And if you've never heard of Danisnotonfire or AmazingPhil, then you desperately need to check them out. Do it! We'll put the link to their YouTube channels down south. And we love their videos so much, so you should too. Definitely, they're hilarious. Go check them out. And one more thing before we go, a lot of you haven't seen our last video, and I definitely think you should check it out. It's called A Year's Worth of Randomness, and basically all throughout 2012, we had our camera with us, and we were just filming tons and tons of random little videos and clips all throughout the year, and then edit them together into one, you know, hilarious, random video. It's hilarious, and it literally took us a year to make this video, and we're really proud of how it came out, so please check it out. We'll put the link down south and also at the end of this video, so please check that out. Thanks for watching. Bye guys, hope you liked my story. Bye!